What's good, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Take Time Out with Tre Mosley podcast. I don't. How do you announce an announcer? I don't know. But I have one on the show today. Uh, if you've seen any award shows lately, there's a very, very high chance you've heard her voice. Um, you know, and I think her story is interesting because um this young lady has burst on the scene, IG, TikTok, you name it. If she has some type of social media, folks are watching. And I'm glad that she has given me some time and you as well since you're watching. I'm gonna stop talking. Roll the clip, producer guy person.
Queen Noveen. I'm sorry. It was just my way of saying how much I love your tail. Yeah, you could swing from it and make it grab things and go all, well, whirly. Mine just hangs there.
Wrong. Shadow High needs to work together on Rainbow Vision, or more specifically, to take down Rainbow High this year. Ugh! If you even have to ask yourself that question, ask yourself what you're doing at Shadow High.
You don't understand. 2 hours isn't enough time. It has to be perfect. And I need to sparkle. I'm Daisy, and I will slay this role.
We're here to practice a hot new routine for Karen Coral Day. Oh, that's nothing. Just something we always hum when we're warming up. Malt and I are the purveyors of a world-class gelato carts. If you ever need a cold treat or directions, we have you covered. Our work here is done, Malt. On to the next neighborhood. Chanel, that M-style cover you styled was amazing. Honestly, I love all your looks. I can't believe these are your friends and this is your life. I can't believe this is my life.
Hey, everybody. Sunset here on Queen Island. And guess what? Rehearsals for the Queen's Gala are happening. I bet there's a huge pearl in that giant clamshell.
What's crazy about that clip is so I was trying to bring you in slowly as a live announcer who's done this and this. But even in your cartoons, you're still being a presenter, which is adjacent to being a live announcer. In case you don't know, Queen Noveen is here, y'all. Oh hell, the
Hi, what's up,
queen. Oh
guys?
hell, oh hell. Good to see you, girl.
Good to see you, Trey. Thanks for having me.
Yes, it has been a while since we have chat.
Mhm.
Lots of things have happened. Certain people have gotten married on me and stuff, and see all.
Ooh.
Oh, okay, flossing. I see you
Ooh.
going.
Ooh.
Hmm. I'm just saying, all wifed up now, and you know, I'm,
Yeah, you know.
you know, newlyweds doing what newlyweds
Yeah,
do,
yeah,
newlywed and things. But
you know.
lots of it has been happening for you. And just first off, I'm gonna give you flowers now.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
you have really been putting in the work, and you like so many of the young folks. I say young like I'm 70, but you know, younger than me,
Yeah.
have gotten into this business and y'all doing your thing. You, Gabe,
Thank you.
Enrique, couple other other young folk I can think of. Y'all have just come in like, hey, you will not ignore us. We
We
are here.
here. We are here.
Um,
Yep.
you know, you come from humble beginnings, Connecticut, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Yes, Connecticut, where
And
seemingly no one's from.
that's not true. They
People
Connecticut is
here and
known.
there.
The only thing I know about Connecticut. Mm,
Yeah.
all right.
Yep.
Well,
That's my point.
and moving on. Uh, is you and the Connecticut School of Broadcasting or something like that. We'll have to talk to Joe
Something.
Shippey on that.
Yeah.
But coming
Cute
from
little state.
Connecticut, which is, there's Northeast and then there's like right there in the corner, of the Northeast, next to Maine and
Yep.
Vermont, and
Yep.
the original 13 colonies.
Yep.
There's a little place called Connecticut. What was it like growing up there?
Very I just grew up in a suburban neighborhood, wasn't much going on there. Lots of land, lots of space. If you wanted to go anywhere, you had to drive. It's not like LA where you can kind of just get an Uber anytime you want, or there's like subway or train stations. Quiet too, very quiet. Not a lot going on there, but it was nice. It was very nice to grow up there because again, it keeps you grounded. It keeps you very humble than all like the chaos that's going on in like major cities. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I didn't mind it. Yeah, it was really nice.
Cool. Now, was acting something that was always in you? Were you like a young theater baby growing up, or when did the bug hit you?
Yeah, so when I was younger, you know how your parents kind of just try you in different things and kind of see what sticks?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they put me in children's theater and I did this play called The Little Clown Who Forgot How to Laugh.
Oh
Don't
wow.
remember it, but my parents said that after the show, I came up to them and I was like, "Oh my gosh, mommy, daddy, I want to do this again. This was so much fun." And they were like, "Oh crap, we didn't mean for her to actually like the acting."
You
And then
mean
she
you like
does.
it? You want to
I
stay?
loved it. Man, I loved it so much. And they were like, "Cool, we will support you." Great. So got bit by the acting bug there and continued doing children's theaters, did some local commercials. I did live professional theater there, and I was just all in the theater, and I just loved it ever since, and it just kind of morphed into musical theater, and now I'm in voiceover.
No, that's it's interesting that you say that. I know a nice collection of folks
Hmm.
who even at a young age, the arts were a part of their lives.
Yeah.
Um, talk about how being in that in that space prepared you for doing voiceover and what you're doing now.
I think it really prepared me in the ways that you have to be able to have an imagination, to be able to also expand that imagination, be able to challenge yourself and improv and do different things. It's really important to have that background in acting and to be grounded in it as well, as opposed to when you're on camera with TV and film, you can make mistakes, you can try again. But with theater, it's like, you better go and you better figure it out and the show must go on, especially with live announcing. There's no room for error with that. um, but I really enjoyed doing theater growing up. I miss it a lot as well. Musical theater as well taught me singing while acting because there are some parts in voiceover that call for that, especially in animation.
Yeah.
So I think having a background in theater is very, very important. You've got to know how to act, even though you're acting real, but you got to know how to do it in an authentic way, portray it in an authentic way without showing that you're actually acting.
Yes. Um, do you feel, or I'm gonna not even say, do you feel? Um, I heard you say that you miss it. I know that there are a lot of repertory theaters in LA. Do you ever say to yourself, "Let me just kind of go sneak in and watch"?
I have not thought
Or
about
better
that.
yet, two-part question. Do
Yeah.
you ever get the urge to go sneak in, and then if you did, do you ever say, "You know, if I could just carve out this much time, I wanna get back up there"?
That second question, absolutely. I would love, love, love to get back into theater. Before COVID, I was going to different shows, seeing my friends' shows, supporting them, and that just reignited that spark in me that like I just want to get back in theater because it's my roots. I love it. So after COVID, it's been kind of hard doing theater or even just being around people like that in a small setting. But actually this year when the year started, I made it one of my New Year's resolutions to get out and see more musical theater shows at the Pantages or like anywhere that they're having it and just get back into theater. And I know a part of me is going to be like, let me just carve out some time and see if I can just, try to get into a show or a play or some musical and try to do that. I actually did one before COVID and that was my last one that I did.
Oh,
And I
okay.
really miss it. So,
What's
yeah.
a play or musical that you haven't done, and if someone said, "You know what? I hear there's an opening up for such and such character in that play, and we want you that you would say, okay, you know what, yeah, I'm gonna need some time because I've been waiting on this, and I'm gonna go do it.
It would definitely be musical theater. So I would say it's between any character in the Heights by Lin-Manuel Miranda
Oh, yes.
or Nabelungi in the Book of Mormon.
Ooh.
That would be amazing. That's something that I auditioned for when I got out of musical theater school, and didn't quite go that direction, but that's something, I've been trained in classes for, and I
Yeah.
would love to jump back into it. I know every song, so yeah, that would make me really happy. That or In the Heights. So I'm like, bring it back to Broadway. Let's go.
So, I'm just saying, Mr. Miranda, if you're watching, I know a girl. Just saying.
Just
So the transition from the Northeast way over to the West Coast, how and when did that happen?
So that transition happened in the middle of my college years. So after I graduated high school in Connecticut, I went to New York City and I attended AMDA, American Musical and Dramatic Academy. So you learn musical theater, acting, dance, and singing, all of it. Um, and in order for me to get my bachelor's degree for 4 years, you had to finish at the LA location because they have a location in New York and LA.
Oh, okay.
But to get your bachelor's, you had to finish in LA. So I did my first 2 years in New York City and then transferred to LA, finished my last 2 years here. And then that's how I got my bachelor's degree and just ended up here. I mean, of course, now they have the 4 year program in New York alone. You can finish there, but I'm glad that it kind of had me experience both cities and I ended up here and my career is flourishing here. So I'm happy to live on another coast and
Mm.
try it out. Yeah.
Now talk about a contrast. I mean, you have experienced it in a small dose going from Connecticut to New York, which is hustling and bustling and all that type of thing. But it's and I've lived in the city. But then having to go from New York out here, well, I'm in Vegas, but on the West Coast in
Mm,
LA, that had to be an even bigger, like, okay, this is a big city, but this is a whole other
yeah.
thing. What was that like?
That it just it feels so spread out here. Like New York City is just like everything's happening in this space and everyone's
Mhm.
just congested and everyone's go, 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 hustle, hustle, hustle. And then I come to LA and everyone's just like chill, taking their time. I'll meet you over there in like an hour and 40 minutes because that's how long it takes to get from one point to the other in LA.
Talking to
Like,
you,
and
405 101.
man, oh my gosh. And it's just like, I was like, why is everyone so slow? Let's go, let's go, let's move. And after I've been here about maybe 11 years now, it's definitely taken me back to kind of chill out, relax, take it easy, which is crazy. So now when I go back to New York, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is too much. I can't be here.
So it's a
It's
total
crazy.
opposite.
Complete opposites, complete, which I think it's good for people to visit both
Mhm.
cities, especially if you want to be in the entertainment industry. So they can gotta get a taste of it. But yeah, the industry itself is crazy overall. So one's fast, one's easygoing. Take your pick.
Well, living in New York is an experience. I actually lived in Staten Island, but I used to
Okay.
catch the ferry over to the city.
Yeah.
Um, and I recall there was a moment. So you're talking to a guy from Florida who has been in
Uh,
chilly weather, but not snowy weather.
oh,
And where
oh.
I lived in Staten Island, there was this hill. And I didn't catch the bus that day. I'm like, if I'm gonna get used to this cold weather, I'm gonna just brave the elements, and I decided to walk. So the bus I usually take went past me going up the hill. All of a sudden, I hear a whole bunch of tires screeching. That bus is now sliding back down the hill.
Oh my gosh.
I said, "Yeah, I picked a good day to walk."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but wait, there's more. So I get to the ferry, and this is pre-cell phones for all you youngsters out there. We actually had payphones on the boat, and you could do a ship to shore phone call,
Oh my
which I thought was
gosh.
fascinating in itself. But
Yep.
I'm on the boat, and then we feel this. Boof. We have hit a chunk of ice, not Titanic style, mind you,
I was gonna say, here we go again.
but we hit something. So now the ferry is kind of in the Hudson, kind of chilling because we
Oh
can't go
god.
back to Staten Island and we can't go to Manhattan just yet, and everybody is rushing to the phones, dropping in quarters, and I'm like, I don't understand. If we hit something and we can't move, I'm like, well, it's ice. Can't you just again, kid from Florida in New York in the winter,
Yeah.
and I had no idea. But when I got to New York, it was such a culture shock. For one,
Mm.
um, as in LA, everything is expensive.
Yeah.
Everything is expensive. I was an intern on Wall Street, and
No way.
yeah, it was very hustle and bustle. I didn't
Yeah.
last long, but I went to McDonald's for lunch, and McDonald's, even in the '90s, was fairly cheap. Not on Wall Street. I'm like, "Yeah, I'd like a number 2 combo Big Mac," whatever it was, and she was like, "Yeah, it'll be $15." I'm like, "Fif—"
Are you kidding me?
But it was just because it was on Wall Street. But it had a guy in the McDonald's on a Wurlitzer piano on this, like, circular thing, playing the piano in it was the fanciest McDonald's I had ever seen. And I'm like,
Unless you're giving me financial advice with that, or like, why is it so much?
"Is this for
That's
real?"
crazy. I'm
So
like, no, thank you.
yeah, I was like,
That's
"Yeah,
wild.
New York ain't my thing." Still have, family and friends there,
Mhm.
from New York, New Jersey, and all up and down the East Coast, but I ain't going back there,
I
unless I go
feel
see my
that.
agents or something like that. So,
Yeah.
now you're on the left coast, you're getting
North
your
Coast.
bachelor's degree, and, so what are you doing as far as so you're going to school and you're
Mhm.
working. Um, there's a story I want to lead up to, but we're not going to get there just yet. But so what are you doing to keep yourself busy in between, going to school? Are you doing plays while you're in school? What's life like when you make the transition to, hey guys, I got to leave New York and now I'm going to LA.
Mhm.
What are you doing out there for the first couple of years?
Yeah, so for my first 2 years, I'm still in school. We have plays that we can do within the school courses and stuff like that, so I'm not going out doing any of that just yet. And I work at, like, a part-time job there, like, at the school store, that kind of thing. So not out quite just yet, but also still kinda just trying to learn my area, learn where everything is. I remember when I was there, I lived literally a block from my school, and I didn't know the grocery stores. The closest thing was CVS. So literally, I would go to CVS and take the little carts, and just that was my grocery shopping.
And just
Those little
load
things
up.
from like, yes, from those like 2, 3 aisles was my grocery shopping. I mean, now I'm like, I'm going the routes, and I'm like, wow, I really elevated
You
from that.
missing
That's
out,
crazy.
yeah.
I was not grocery shopping at all. But, I did what I could. And then after I graduated, that's when, like, we all go on auditions, all musical theater auditions, that kind of thing. But I wasn't really booking any of that. So I was like, maybe that's not my thing. So I got a part-time job at the Grove, and on Hollywood Boulevard, and still trying to audition for little things, little plays, anything that I can get. So it's mainly working, trying to go to like SAG events and that kind of stuff. And then eventually I got into doing background work. So I did a lot of background work for the Disney Channel, for one of their shows. So I was able to bring in a little bit more income and get my SAG card after all that background, after all, and finally join the union. And I was just hustling, bustling of trying to get, you know, short films and stuff to kind of create a demo reel to show people what I can do.
Yeah.
So now that I think about it, I'm proud of myself. I did a lot.
Hey, okay, pat
Job,
yourself on the back.
dang. I'm like, girl, you hustled. Man, I had like 3 jobs at one point too. I had to make it work.
And, apparently you did, because 'cause you're still
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
So when did, well, I wanna go one place before I go to another place.
Mhm.
Alright, so before voiceover, was it something that you were even interested in?
No, I didn't even know what voiceover was. I didn't know that it was a thing. All I knew was acting, musical theater, plays. That's about it. But throughout my high school and college years, everyone always complimented my voice. It was like, you should get into it. You should try voiceover. Of course, my school didn't have classes for voiceover classes. I didn't know where to get those. I didn't know what to do. So it was after I graduated that I really looked into it. And I found this little school program that had acting classes, but they also had voiceover classes on the side.
Mhm.
So I did a few acting classes and then decided to, okay, let me try this voiceover thing out. Let me take some classes. I took that for about a year with Jeff Howell.
Ah,
And from there, that's when I signed with Atlas and then started getting auditions and just started booking. And here I am today.
awesome. So
Yeah.
now to go to the place I wanted to go to, but I wanted you to tell that story first.
Yeah.
So, in case you all have not don't know, just go to YouTube and prepare to just, be amazed and maybe shed a tear or two. This young lady, you know what? I'm not gonna I'll set it up, but I'll let her tell the story. Um, she had an opportunity to be on the Ellen show, many, many moons ago. Not once, but twice. And, in between those, episodes, um, Ellen did some nice things for her and told, the folks about her story and stuff like that. But, who else better to tell it than the source? So I'm just gonna sit back and let you tell the fine folks, how did that happen? How did all of that happen? And then not only that, um, from that, um, were you able to capitalize off of it? Because, I mean, that's a
Mm,
big deal to
mhm,
be on the show, not once, but then they bring you back, and
mhm.
then the trickle down from there. So tell everybody what happened on Ellen, that those 2 times.
Yeah. So tickets to the Ellen show are free online. I tried to get tickets. And with shows like that, they overbook people. So, in case people don't show up, and I was one of those people that were kind of overbooked. So, the first time I went, I was in the overflow room in the back. So, we were still at the show, but we were watching on little monitors in the back. But we got guaranteed tickets to next season. So, fast forward to next season, finally get to be in the audience there, and we're watching them do the segments and all that kind of stuff. And then she goes, now who wants to play a game called What's in the Box? So I'm like, I have to act the craziest in order for her to see me. So I'm like, whoa, pick me, pick me. I see her make eye contact with me. And then she comes up the stairs. She's just shaking her head and laughing. And so she interviews me a little bit, tells me how to play the game. We play the game. And I end up winning $500 to her Ellen shop and then $500 to Nordstrom. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. I can't believe I actually won. So that's the end of that show. And then I get an email after that saying, hey, we loved you on the show. We want to invite you back to see what you bought with those gift cards. We want to kind of interview you and do like a little mini commercial kind of thing. So they invite me back. They seat me in the audience again. And they're just like, okay, just keep your energy down, keep it chill so you can save it for when we film the commercial after she's finished filming all her segments. So I'm thinking it's a whole separate thing. So I'm sitting there, going through the segments and watching everything happen. Then all of a sudden, Ellen goes, they start the next segment. She goes, 2 weeks ago, we surprised an audience member, and my mind just goes blank from there because my face shows up on the screen, and I was like, oh my gosh. And she's like, Noveen, come on down. I'm like, ah! I'm like coming down. We do a whole full-on interview. Had no idea any of this was happening because now in my head, I'm like, so are we not doing that commercial, or did you guys lie to me? Because this is what
Mm.
really was happening. I was like, caught up, got it. So we do a full-on interview. She has me do a jingle and talk about her socks and chug-a-lug-a-lug-chug and all of that stuff. And she has me read a little bit on teleprompter, doing those little fake show
The teasers,
commercial
yeah.
things. Yeah, the teasers. And so after that, she gives me another $500 Ellen shop gift card to her shop. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening right now? So I'm thinking we're done. They're like, everyone's like, great job, great job, great job. They put me back in my seat. We're waiting for the next last segments to go ahead. And I'm just trying to breathe in the seat. I'm sitting there. And then we're like, all right, last segment. So they're filming the last segment. And Ellen's like, you know what? There's one more thing I forgot to do. Noveen, why don't you come back down? And I'm like, what? I cannot settle myself. What are you guys doing to me right now? So I get down there. She's like, oh, I just forgot to do one more thing. I just want you to read something else on teleprompter. It's not going to be for the Ellen shop, but just go ahead and read it. And I'm like, Okay. So here I am reading about Chevrolet. Nothing is clicking in my head because there's so much going on. They lied to me 10 million times, so I don't know what's happening. I'm reading about Chevrolet and then blah, 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 blah. And then I'm like, so why am I telling you all about this? Because Ellen's given me the card that's right behind me. And I slow down, and that's when it finally clicks
Yep.
what's happening. She grabs the mic from me. I remember her holding my shoulders and turning me around, and the doors are opening, and there's my car.
It's a
And I
Chevy
was like,
Equinox, right?
a 2017 Chevrolet Equinox. I was like, did I just get a car? What is happening? It was so overwhelming. It was
Tell her
amazing.
what
So
she's won, and there you go.
literally, so I got that, which was crazy. But also after that, they still loved me so much. They signed a little contract with me for a year, and then I got to be on her Ellen's Game of Games show. So
Oh,
basically, all
that's
the games
sweet.
she plays on her show, it's just
Yeah.
giant sized. So I
Oh,
got to
that's
be
dope.
on that, made it to like the very last round. Didn't win, but even if we lost, they still gave us like a bunch of different gift cards to choose from. So that was really nice.
So I gotta
So
ask,
yeah,
do you still have the car?
I do. She's in the
Really?
garage. Yep.
Wow.
Still got her. It was so how old? 5 years old now? Five,
You still
6?
drive
Yeah.
it though? Like, was it just like
Still
I'm
drive
just
it.
oh, okay.
Oh, nope, that's my main car, drive it everywhere. I used to have a bumper sticker on the back of it that said, "Ellen DeGeneres gave me this car," and people would pull me over on the side of the road and on the highway. They're like, "Did she really give you that car?" I'm like, "I'm driving, yes, yes, just yes, look up my name, Noveen on Ellen, just YouTube
Merch
that." And I'm
coming.
like,
Merch
"Yeah,
coming.
right?" I was like, "You guys, what?" I'm like, "Should I just put like a QR code on the back of my car at that point?" But yeah, I got a lot of like questions about that, which was really cool. And I would see people in my rearview mirror being like
That's
taking a picture of my bumper sticker, and I'm like, "Oh, there we go again."
and just like that, you were a celebrity of sorts.
That yeah, that was a little insane, and that was so unexpected. But I mean,
So
the
how did that
reason. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, so how did that help you in the future? Did being on the show when you started to, perhaps audition for stuff, people may have recognized your face or your voice. Like, were there any I'm sure there were benefits of it, but how
Mhm.
did it help in the shaping of your career from that point?
So I was signed with Atlas by then. I had just signed with them, I believe, in March, and this happened in February. So it was right around the same time that that happened. And within that year, that's when I had got the MTV Video Music Awards, the VMAs, which was my first live award show that I ever live announced. So I wouldn't say that there was anything directly that I got from Ellen that I was aware of that someone told me, but
Mhm.
I did get gigs after that. And a lot of the gigs that I got after that, they were always like, "Oh, I saw you on Ellen," or they would ask about it, or somehow it would come up or something like that, and we would talk about it. But they would never say, like, "Oh, we gave you this job because we saw you on Ellen." But it was just a way for people to know who I was more and see that I had on camera reading skills on the spot like that. And uh yeah, people did recognize me. I still worked at my part-time job, so people were like, "Oh, I decided to take this tour because I saw you on Ellen." So when I was on Ellen, I talked about how I had a part-time job at a theater, and when I do these tours, I do tours for people. And sometimes at the end of the tour, they would tip you. And I don't like keeping the tips. It kind of feels a little weird to me. So I was like, okay, let me take the tips. I would go out, buy food, and hand it out to the homeless. That's what I would do with my tips. And I had told Ellen that story. So I feel like that's part of the reason why she turned around and gave me a car, because my car also broke down at that time.
Yeah.
So a lot of people saw the episode and would come to the theater and take tours, hoping they would get me as the tour guide. So that was kind of interesting too. I was like, wow, this is really reaching people everywhere. Everyone's seen this. And
I mean,
yeah.
it's a great story, and I remember you saying that, you would, be on these tours and like you said, take the money and then basically just redistribute it like, "You know what? I'm good, but I know some folks that maybe aren't as good as I am. Even though I'm
Mhm.
struggling, they're struggling more. Um, and
Yeah.
I think that's a testament to just having a good heart, where you know that, yeah, I could probably use this, but and I've been to LA a few times. Their homeless problem out there is horrendous.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've lived in at least 5 major cities in my life.
Mhm.
Miami, DC, um, New York, um, and then having been to LA and been to Philadelphia, I've never seen it the way it is out there.
Yeah.
I recall coming out there, meeting some friends to go to breakfast, and I couldn't find the spot because the address that they had given me, it wasn't there anymore. And this homeless dude was like, "Hey, you looking for the restaurant for breakfast?" And I'm like, "How the hell does he know that?" But I'm sure he's been there long enough that he knows that. Yeah,
Yeah.
they moved it, man. It's up on so and so and so. Like,
Wow.
how does he know that? And
You should be getting paid to move people to tell
I'm
people where to
telling you.
go.
So I'm like, "Yeah, that's what we're looking for." He said, "Yeah, man, it's they moved it up the hill to," and I can't think of the name of the place now. Um, had the biggest pancakes I have ever seen. BZ
Oh.
Cullens, it's your fault. And I say, "Want to bring you something back?" "Yeah, man, bring me something back." And I guess he
Oh,
thought I was kidding. I couldn't finish the breakfast, so I still had maybe about 3 or 4 pancakes that were the size of a vinyl album. Um,
no way.
After the show, I'm gonna reach out to BZ because I'm sure he'll know the name of it. If you
That
and
is
and
huge.
and Luke get a chance, uh,
Yeah.
you're welcome. Don't
Oh
eat
my god.
anything that day because you are going to be
Yes.
full. But
Oh
long
my
story
gosh.
short, I don't eat everything. I may have had maybe of the 4 stacked pancakes they brought, I fought through 1.5 of them. And then whatever portions I did not physically touch or eat, I wrapped it back up and we drove
Mhm.
back down and I found that guy. I said, "Hey man, I ain't forget about you." And he
Oh.
looked, he was like, "You remembered?" I said, "I told you I got you." And he was like, "Oh shoot, it got strawberries on it. You all right with me, bro?" I said, "Enjoy, man." Because I always get strawberries with my pancakes. I said, "So I
Yeah.
have to do that." But I get it. So I saw that and was like, "That's dope."
Yeah. I love that. I love that.
Because somebody has to look out for them.
Of
Um,
course. Yeah.
a lot of people don't know, for a very small stint, I myself was homeless. And so I have
Oh.
a soft spot for them. Luckily, I had friends that I had clothes at this friend's house. I was able to go wash up at this friend's house. But
Yeah.
um, in my early 20s, your boy was out there in the Miami streets. Not as
Wow.
bad as they had it, but you know,
Yeah.
still, even for a week or 2 on the streets compared to years, you can see, um, you see a different part of the city that no one else sees because 'cause you're seeing it
Oh.
from different
Yep.
eyes.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
so yeah, I have a soft spot for folks in need. So, let's
Wow.
move on. Um, Things are starting to pick up for you, in VO. You did your first live announce. Um, I think you started doing animation before video games, or do I have it the other way around?
Video games first.
Okay.
Yeah, video
So,
game came first and then animation came after, yeah.
do you remember your first game?
Red Dead Redemption 2.
Indeed. Now, Rockstar is a pretty big franchise of games. They got Red Dead, they got Grand Theft Auto 1
Mhm.
through now
GTA.
6. Yeah.
Oh,
So,
jeez, wow.
yeah, 6 is coming out next year. Um,
Okay.
Finally, but I digress. What was that like being, part of a AAA game is Red Dead?
I didn't even know how big Red Dead was or just the gravity of working for a company like Rockstar Games is. And I remember I was at an audition for some play or something because again I was still kind of like fresh out of college trying to audition for things. And I remember I was there in the waiting room with my friends, and I saw the email that said I booked it. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I booked my first gig. This is so cool. It's a video game." But of course, it was under NDA. So I'm like, I
Sure.
didn't know what the name of it was. I was just like, "Oh my God, my first gig. This is really cool." So when my agent had told me to call them, so I called them and they're like, "Hey, so we just want to make sure that you're okay with the character, with the role that it is." Of course, in my eyes, I was like, "Whatever you need me to do. This is my first gig. Let's go."
Let's go.
They were like, "Okay, so the character, just so you know, because I didn't know anything about Red Dead 2 or what it was even about, is a whore. You will be voicing a whore in the whore house. And you're just gonna be one of those ladies, and then she tells a little story, whatever she does, and I did not hesitate. I was like, "Yes, I'll do it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you."
I'll be the whore. Thank you.
Literally, and I was just so happy to have a first booking,
Of course.
whatever it was, and to start my voiceover career. I was all for it, and I was so proud of myself. Of course, the game didn't come out till like 3 years later, and I finally found out what it was when it showed up on my IMDb, and I was like, "Oh, that's what I did." Okay, cool. And then I learned the gravity of how big it is. And everyone's like, "Oh, you did Red Dead 2? What? That was your first game? Are you kidding me?" And I was like, "Oh, I get this now. Oh, okay."
It's
Because I don't
all a
really play
big
video
deal.
games. I play Mario Kart.
Yep.
But yeah, where is it? There it is. Yep, Red Dead 2. So my first booking, had to idolize it. And I'm like, wow. Wow, that's incredible. Now that I think about it years later, I'm like, yeah, okay. I'm proud of myself. That was wild.
No, it's really it's a thing. Um, speaking of, I remember when I first booked Madden. And I
Mm,
did not know, like you, when you get these auditions, sometimes the devs and the casting folk have to give it a code name so you don't go
yeah.
run around like, "Hey, I just auditioned for." So it
Yep.
just said, "Hey, there's a sports game coming out, and they need a kind of sports sounding guy, but with an urban voice." I'm like, I can do that. And I gave him a few lines, and then I got a
Mhm.
call back. And luckily for me, because I was in Florida at the time, it was like, "Yeah, uh, the studio wants you to come and, read in person." "Okay, where am I
Okay.
going?" It's like, "It's
Yeah.
in Orlando." I said, "Oh, it's an hour and some change from Jacksonville. Yeah, I can do that with
Mhm.
my eyes closed." So, there were omens around me, though, good omens, and I'll
Mm.
explain. So on the way there, I had already known, Tiburon Studios, which is a part of EA. I'm like, Tiburon's there, but I'm thinking, but Madden is already coming out in a month. I don't think it's for Madden. So maybe it's
Yeah.
a rival game or, you know, something
Yeah.
totally different. But I'm like, then again, I know they have a lot of downloadable content. So now my wheels are turning, but I'm like, nothing that I read in the
Um,
script would
yep.
lead me to believe because they were fictitious football teams. So it wasn't like the 49ers, it was like
Oh, I see.
the
Yeah.
Arkansas Red Dragons versus the Tennessee Chalupas or something. I'm like, "Well, nah,
These names.
this ain't Madden." I'm like, "Alright,
Yeah.
it's for something Madden-esque." But whatever it is, I'm just
Mhm.
glad they called me.
Mhm.
Um, the hotel, because I went down the night before because I have a couple classmates, and I wanted to hang out with them, before I went to read, but because I got there and I was just anxious and like, you know what? I don't wanna see nobody." And here's the omen. As I open the curtains and I look across the street of the I-4 overpass, on the other
Mhm.
side of the overpass, there's a building. And at night, the light came on. And I looked over and the two letters on the side of the wall, EA. I said,
Sports. It's in the
I said,
game.
let me go look at this address again.
Oh my
And
gosh.
sure enough, the same building where I saw that E and the A, it was them.
Wow.
So now I'm excited and extra nervous because I'm like, "Oh damn, what if this is for Madden or some
Yeah.
different version?" Because I know EA used to do. They had Madden and they had this football game called NFL Street. So what if they bring an
Mhm.
NFL Street back? And now I'm losing it. I'm going from
Yeah.
it's just some rinky dink
Yeah.
game to wait. but EA is across the street in the
This is why they
address.
don't tell us.
Right.
We get to in our
But
heads.
I've always been a detective like that. I'm like, but the address and the
Mm-hmm.
so that next morning, and it was like a 3-minute drive. And I get there and the security person's like, "Hi, good morning." I'm like, "Hi, yes, I'm here. I'm like, what am I here? Oh, I'm here for an audition." I blanked out because I was excited. I'm like, "Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm here. I'm Tre Mosley and I'm here for an audition." I really had to get myself together. And she's like,
Oh
"Oh yes, Mr.
man.
Mosley, the team's waiting for you. Welcome. Um, come on in." So I parked my car and I'm seeing all these like sports cars and Teslas. I'm like, "Oh,
Ooh.
oh, y'all got money, money. Okay."
Mm.
Now I'm
Mm.
the nerves are starting to so I walk in and at that time, who was on the cover? I think Patrick Mahomes was on the cover.
Mhm.
And they had this monitor. So you know they have these 100-inch TVs out now? They had
Yeah.
one then, but it was as tall as the roof to the floor, and it
Oh
was
my
him in his
gosh.
quarterback pose, and I'm like, "Oh, this for real." And, this they had me in the waiting area. Nicest waiting area ever. There's a breakfast bar. They're making omelets. You can get a smoothie or a banana or whatever. I'm like,
Oh.
"I could move in and just stay here.
Right? I can stay here. I don't need to leave.
Garçon, hook
I
me up
got
with
y'all.
the." You know, I would like some, frittatas, please.
Oh
I mean,
my
it was
gosh.
real laid out, and so this guy walks up, he's like, "Are you here for the Madden update?" And I look at him like and he looks back at me with this p pale face like, "I don't think I should have said that." He takes off, and I never saw this guy again, and I used to
Oh
l
my god.
drive down before I moved, I used to drive down to the studios, uh, a couple of times a month to record.
Mhm.
I don't think he was supposed to tell me that, but I've never seen him again. Long story short,
They got
they
rid of him.
they make you sign an NDA even before you enter the building.
No way.
I kid you
Whoa.
not. So when you walk up, security hands you a badge, asks who you're here to see, and they have like a touchpad, like an iPad, and
Wow.
you have to read
Yeah.
and say, "I won't do this, I won't do this, I won't say this, I won't scan, I won't take pictures, I won't take video unless given permission." And then I signed, gave a thumbprint, and
Dang.
yeah,
Lockdown.
for real. And then they came and got me. Um, I did the read. I was only supposed to be there maybe 20 minutes or so, 45 minutes later, because they were just throwing everything at me. "Okay, how would you say it if it was 3rd
Oh.
and 5? How would you say it if it was 4th and 1?" I said, "Look, let me tell y'all something. This is turning into a session, and you're gonna have to
Yeah.
pay me." Um,
Yeah.
I ain't never had no audition in almost an hour, and we were just having fun. They was like, "Yeah, all right, man, you right. But hey, we had just so much fun with you, and you know, thanks for coming down." And I left that same day, and I was talking to Danielle, and I was like, I think they like me. I mean, they kept me there almost an hour, so they had to kick me
Yeah.
out or pay you, boy." And
Yeah.
so I did something just because I felt, all right, if I really want to impress these people, what's something I can do? I went on
Mhm.
LinkedIn and I looked up the producers that I had met with in the session,
Mhm.
and I reached out to them via the LinkedIn DM and said, "Hey, just want to thank you guys for the opportunity. It was really great meeting with you all." They would say, "Hey, man, thanks for reaching out. Wasn't expecting this." I'm like, "I know. That's right, you weren't."
Mhm.
So my agent, a few days later says, "Hey, what are you doing next week?" I'm like, "I got nothing planned." It's like, "Oh yeah, you do. You lying." She's like, "I'm not lying. They want you." What? 4 games and 4 years later.
Whoa, no way! That's awesome!
Yes. So if you look right, move your hand there and
Yep.
right there. They gave me commemorative plaques. Um, you know what? I'll just pop it off.
That is so cool they did that.
So for the years that I've
Wow.
done the game, this one was for Madden 22. That one is for Madden 23. I'm expecting one for Madden 24, which is where we're in
Wow.
now. Um,
Yeah.
Probably one of the best jobs ever.
That is
So
so
yeah, you
cool.
you really don't realize the magnitude of something until you're a
Yep.
part of it, which is
Yep.
where I was trying to get to all along, but it was just a good story.
It was a good story. It was good. I learned something new about you. I didn't know. So
See, there you
that was
go.
good. I
So
love that.
live announce, because I know you said that the MTV Awards was your first one,
Mhm.
and then all of a sudden, like pimples, you were just popping them though. Just what
Yep.
happened from that first one to where you kind of became, you know, on every producer's speed dial, because it was like, wait, she just did, but I just heard her
Yep.
on, and now she's
Yep.
doing like,
Mhm.
explain that domino effect, because you were still doing cartoons, you were still doing games,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
then this other subgenre VO started to really take off for you. How'd that really happen?
Yeah, so I did the MTV VMAs, the Video Music Awards, in August 2017. I remember that. And next was the People's Choice Awards. And that was usually like November, December-ish time. And it was the same producers that did MTV. And they said, "Hey, we loved you from that. Do you want to audition and try this one?" So ended up doing People's Choice Awards that year. And then the following year, I ended up being the voice of the E Network. So because I was the voice of the E Network and People's Choice Awards was E, they were just like, "Hey, do you want to just keep doing it every year as long as like you're with us?" So I ended up doing 5 People's Choice Awards, and that was incredible. And it was, again, it was the same producers, same writers, and all those kind of people that I would continue working with. And while I was in the contract with E, of course, I was not allowed to do other live award shows from other networks. So I wasn't allowed to do MTV and all that kind of stuff. So after my contract had ended with E Network, then it just opened up the door for me to do all these other live award shows that have been wanting to, like MTV even tried coming back in the middle of my E contract and was like, "Hey, can she do this? Is she allowed to do this?" And my agent was like, "Let's ask you, maybe you can." And they were like, "No."
No.
So weren't able to do that. They tried twice and they were like, "No, no." So after I was done with E, then I was able to MTV Movie and TV Awards, the SAG Awards, NFL Honors. Like, again, it was just like they knew me from the other previous award shows that I've done, but also social media helped that too. Getting myself out there and showing what it's like live announcing behind the scenes, and that's how I was able to like do the GLAAD Awards as well, MTV Movie and TV Awards, NASCAR, San Francisco 49ers. Like, it's just, I've just expanded across so many new genres that I didn't even know existed or that I was capable or even able to do.
Mhm.
So that was just incredible. Just, yeah, like you said, just kept exploding, just everywhere. So again, I'm challenging myself, but also learning new things and trying new things. So um, it's been an incredible journey. I didn't know that I would love live announcing. Again, I didn't know what voiceover was when I started. So now I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I like this. This is cool. Let's keep
I
doing
think
live announcing specifically. I love that.
nice room. I think I'll stay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. This room by myself.
So give us a bird's eye view of that, because I've done on a lower scale some VOG, uh
Mhm,
voice of God for you folks who don't know. Um
mhm.
Live announce. But give us a bird's eye view of what it's like on a major scale, when you got who knows how many people in your ear at one point, and then you hear those two words, cue announce. Um Tell us what's your workflow like with the people that you're working with, and how do you get yourself prepared?
Yeah, so leading up to the show, we'll have a few pre-recorded sessions that we do. So I'll get to see the script, I get to see some stuff here and there and kind of pre-record some stuff. Then the day of the show, I arrive. Usually an associate producer or someone comes to get me that I always meet up with and who will also be in the booth with me to kind of help direct me and stuff. I'll get my giant binder of the full script and all information about the show, like even the blueprints of like where we're at.
Oh, wow.
Everything will be in that binder, but the most important thing is the script for me. So I'll get to my room, get the script. I'll go through all my lines, say them out loud, tab them, do little markings in the book if I need to take a pause here or however to make it flow for me. And then I'll also look up names that I don't know on YouTube, of them pronouncing their own name so I can say it correctly.
Sure.
So just preparing that book. Also, day of, I don't have like any cheese. I don't do like
No
ranch
sweets.
dressing on my salad, like nothing like that. It's just like straight crackers and maybe soup, lots of tea, honey, all that kind of stuff. But just preparing, getting myself in the zone. And mind you, I have to get there like 11 a.m. day of when the show's not till like 5 p.m. So we're there
Oof.
all day. So after going through my book, then I have a lot of downtime. So I get to know my space, get to know where the bathroom is. Because with a chaotic show like that, you better go before. And with the amount of water you're drinking, you better find the longest commercial break that you can if you need to go in the middle of the show, which is insane. But showtime is when it really gets crazy for me. Because everything's live, everything's on air. The beginning, just saying names here and there, but it's the outros and intros that get really crazy. Outro going out to commercial or coming back from commercial. Because
Mhm.
depending on how much time is left in the show, towards the end of the show, that's when they'll start cutting lines or they'll start shortening lines and they'll
Right.
change the script last minute. So as I'm doing the show, oh my gosh, there's like so many people in my ear. So in one ear, I'll have the actual show of what people hear on TV happening.
Mhm.
And then the other ear is the director, the producer, other crew members who are trying to talk to the head people and they're going back and forth with different things. But the only thing I need to listen for is ready announce, cue announce. That's all I listen for in my head. Or if there's any line changes, if they say we're running out of time, do we want to say this line? Oh, is so and so not going to show up then? Okay, so we're going to cut their line out and have someone else show up. So then my line has to change of who I'm announcing. So it's just little things I have to listen for, but also make sure the timing is correct with what I'm saying
Mhm.
for each thing. It's so chaotic in my ear that I'm just like, I don't know how I do it, but I just know what to listen for. When I explain it to other people and I show them examples, they're just like, I can't do it. I can't do it. But somehow I'm able to separate that and I really, really enjoy it. But live announcing is not for the faint of heart. You've
No,
got to be brave.
it's
You've got to be
it's not.
courageous. Yep, you've got to be able to take changes on the spot and not poop your pants.
Well, I feel like also, um, if you have a good production team around you, that they
Yes.
prepare you because I did some stuff here in town in Vegas, uh, for this conference called CinemaCon,
Hmm.
and my producer was literally sitting to my right and turning the pages for me. So all I had to do, he would just give me he's like, "All right, so and so's gonna come out and you're gonna announce them, introduce them in 3, 2," and he would just tap me. I'm like, "Ladies and gentlemen, Jamie Lee Curtis." And I'm like, "I just introduced Jamie Lee Curtis. How about that?" And it was cool. It was the coolest thing to do. Um even on that scale because you get an excitement from it. Not only, yes, this is a great job that I'm doing, but to be a part of that whole thing. And you're seeing it
Hmm.
from from pre-production to live to post-production, and you're there
Yep.
in the midst of it all. Talk about how exciting that is. Once the high of doing the show is over, and now it's like, oof, all right, we got through another one. Um have you ever had any brush with a celebrity who may have, you're walking through the hall, they're walking through the hall, it's like, "Hey, that's so and so." Like, "Hey, oh, I'm the announcer. Oh, you're doing a great job." Like anything like any I talk for a living. Any interactions, have there been any interactions like that? There we go.
Yeah, I've definitely introduced myself to some celebrities that I've been a long time fan of. Jenna Ortega, who does Wednesday and was on the Disney
Yeah.
Channel, introduced myself to her backstage. I think it was People's Choice or MTV Movie and TV Awards. And I just introduced myself to her and told her who I was. And I was a live announcer for the show. And I'm introducing her name on stage. And she was like, oh, really? That's really cool. Good for you. Yeah, nice to meet you. So she was super kind. I met Dakota Fanning at the SAG Awards and told her what
Nice.
I did as well, and that I introduced her. And she's like, wow, that's a big job. Great job. Congratulations. Like, that's awesome. Great to meet you. And I got to meet Lin-Manuel Miranda as well, because my husband has a friend who did shows with him as well.
Mhm.
Write shows with him. And it's just cool when I tell them who I am and then it clicks to them that I'm the one who does it. It gives me that little spark of, whew, okay, so they know for like the split second, and this is really freaking cool. Um, but it's I don't know, it's just so much going on, and after the show is when I get that like relief of, wow, okay, we got through it, but holy crap, that was so much fun. I want to do it again. So much fun. So I feel like after the show is when like it inspires me even more and pushes me more to want to do another show or even do a different show, something that
Mhm.
can challenge me, something that's different. So I just have that urge to just keep going, to do more shows, and I love it. I love it so much.
I can tell. It's an exciting thing. It's a rush. Um,
Mhm.
and I totally agree with you about bathroom breaks because I had to skedaddle. They was
Oh
like,
my
yeah, this is good.
god.
They was like, this is
Yes.
gonna be a 3-minute piece where they're gonna be showing a movie trailer. I'm like, great, I'll be back. And yeah, I get that. You
Dude,
gotta
I've
do.
gone to the bathroom a few times for certain shows, and of course, like in the book, it'll tell you, like you said, how much time you have for
Mhm.
a commercial break. Sometimes that stuff is like incorrect and they'll maybe come back early, or I'm not supposed to be opening, but they
Mhm.
just change it last minute. And I've had times where I've gone to the bathroom, and thankfully, my manager is with me. Who's my husband? He's with me, and he's calling me back. He's like, Queen Noveen, they need you back." And I'm like, I didn't even wash my hands. I'm like running back down the hall, and I'm like, what are we reading? What do we need to do? Okay, got it. Please welcome Snoop Dogg. And I'm like, you guys, stop doing
You
that.
said
So
2 minutes. You said 2
literally,
minutes.
I try and plan it out so much. So I'm like, the biggest commercial break, that's when I'm gonna go. And that's when they need me. It's always when they need me. But I sit there for like 2 hours and they don't need me. Then the moment I go, they need me. I'm like, you guys are watching me, aren't you? Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like going on a trip. People I always tell people if you want to book a lot of VO work, take a trip.
Yep. Yep.
Because everybody in the world will all of a sudden need you ASAP or urgent. Can you do this now?
Yep.
Just driving here from Florida to Vegas, I booked out because I knew I was going to be on the road at least 3 days. Nope. Here I am in my car with my 416 like this tomorrow night on ABC. So and so and so. I'm like, how is this even working? But you got to do what you got to do. You
Yeah,
got to
that
do what you got to
happened
do.
to me twice. My husband and I, we were going to get married in Maui and just have, the week to ourselves. And literally right before that, we were like, okay, we're not gonna like go out. We don't want to get sick. Let's just take the week off of not going anywhere and just doing work from home.
Yeah.
Nope. They're like, hey, Willie Nelson, can you voice his show? It's a 2-day show at the Hollywood Bowl. And I was like, yes, yes, I need the money. Yes, let's do it. Let's do it. And thankfully, it didn't overlap our wedding, but it was like right before. And I was like, oh my
Mm.
gosh, you guys. And then even NASCAR last year, we were supposed to go back to Hawaii for his birthday. And that ended up overlapping. And they're like, hey, do you want to, voice NASCAR to be on November 4th? And we were like, we're supposed to be gone like the 2nd to like the 6th.
Ah.
So literally, we had to cancel it, and we're like, should we pay to go on a trip, or should we go on a trip and get paid to do a job that I love?
Hey now.
Let's go ahead and do NASCAR. So we ended up doing NASCAR. So yep, that is 100% true. Just book a trip anywhere, and you will get booked.
It's true, people. It never fails. So, um, before we wrap, like I said, you are a newlywed, and
Yeah.
so let's. You see how she lit up? She's yeah. So talk about that. Now that you have a family, and you and hubby, and he's very integral in your career.
Hmm.
Um, how does it differ now having someone in your life while you're doing VO as
Hmm.
opposed to like how do you find the balance? Okay, I'm not Queen Noveen right now, I'm just Noveen the wife versus
Hmm.
hey hun, about that dinner we were supposed to go to, ESPN just called,
Yeah.
I got a thing. So how do you juggle those balls in the air?
Usually, for a lot of the voiceover stuff that I do, he comes with me to the live announcing stuff. So he's able to handle the logistics and all that kind of stuff. And when we're somewhere else other than home, out and about at a job, we both have our business caps on. So there's never a time when we're like, oh, hey, babe, this, hey, babe, that. It's always Luke, Noveen, Queen. So we're very on top of it, which is pretty good. And he is so smart. He's so knowledgeable. He's a go getter. He's very hard driven. He knows how to manage and he thrives in that world. So I'm so grateful to have met someone that loves to manage people, but also we have a great relationship outside of business as well. So it kind of just worked hand in hand with each other. And I'm so grateful to have him come on these trips with me and be able to, get the footage that everyone sees on social media, but also be able to guide me and support me on how the business actually works. Because before him, I didn't have these videos up on social media. I never posted any of that. I was private on Instagram. I didn't have a TikTok. I was just all to myself. I wasn't doing red carpets. And then when he met me, he was like, no, you should be doing this. You should be doing that. Like, you are talent, you are talented, and you need to be out there and show people what you have. So I always give credit to him for pushing me and supporting me and putting me out there. And glad that he has my back. So yeah.
Well, that's what's up. Because I think people need to realize, even though for us as the talent, and we're trapped in our booths or in our home
Hmm.
studios for how many hours a day, there are still people behind the scenes that are helping us to get to where we want to go.
Yeah.
Be it our family, our reps, even our friends who may call and say, "Hey, man, I heard you on this, and this. I told all the boys back home, yeah, that's
Yeah.
my man right there." Or, it's
Yeah.
good to have people that are in your corner. Um,
Of course.
it's cool. So as we wrap, as I do with all my guests, I think I'm gonna have to
Mhm.
get some kind of sponsorship with something because I feel I need to. So, um, in closing, I like to ask all of my guests, when cameras are off and mics are off and no one's on stage or giving you reams of paper to read,
Yeah.
how does the queen take time out for herself?
I love that question. That is the best question because you don't get a lot of that question in regular interviews. I love just staying home. This is my room here. I watch a lot of documentaries. I love watching Disney Plus, National Geographic. I love learning about the weather and how it works. Like, if I wasn't a voiceover artist, I'd probably be a natural geologist because I love learning
Hmm.
about the earth and weather, but specifically natural disasters. I love tornadoes and hurricanes and typhoons and volcanoes and all that kind of stuff. So I love watching that. I have 4 pets. I have my 2 cats and my 2 dogs that I hang out with and play with. But I also love just going to the park or going somewhere where I can just sit down and read my book. I have Disney books that I read. I love doing that. I love painting. I love baking. Cupcakes. I love sweets. So I love doing cake,
Oh
cupcakes. I'm actually
boy.
pretty good at making cakes. I got to show you the cake I made for Luke's birthday last 2 years
What's your
ago.
favorite cake to make?
Funfetti. Just straight funfetti, any kind of colored frosting on it, rainbow sprinkles.
Sugar, sugar, and sugar.
Literally, I made cupcakes for Luke's job. They had a holiday party, and I made so many cupcakes. And I was like, "Don't eat them. They're not for you. Don't eat them. They're not for you."
He ate them.
I wanted to eat them so bad. He brought them to work and came back, and there was some left. I was like, "Yes, they're mine now." I
See,
love cupcakes.
I would, as I tell people, sometimes I have to love folks from a distance. I could not be with you because you'd be like, "Hey, Trey, we're having this thing, me and Luke, and we're making some cupcakes." I'm like, "I'll just have one." 5 cupcakes later.
Exactly. I can't stop myself. It's so good. It's so good.
Ah,
I'm like one a day.
that's
One
too
10 a
much.
day.
I look at any type of bread and I instantly gain 3 pounds. And you're
Oh my
talking
god.
about bread and sugar.
Yes. Ooh. Ooh, listen, whenever it's your birthday, let me know. I could bake you a little something. I got you.
Oh, Lord, October 22nd. I'm just saying,
Yes.
I turned I so a lot of people don't believe me when I tell them I'm turning 50 this year.
The big 5-0.
Yes,
You
I'm
sure?
turning I, I kid you not. I am turning 50 this year. Um, I'm loving my gray. I'm, not too bad a fella for approaching the top of the hill.
Yeah.
Um,
You look
and no
good though. You look good.
well, thank you, sister. I'm now
Yeah,
I'm
of
just working
course.
on I gotta work on the exterior a little bit, but we gonna get it right. Them cupcakes ain't gonna help. But my friends don't believe me, but for my 50th birthday, if I can get it scheduled, I am getting a bounce house.
Oh, do it. I will be there and I will
So
bring cupcakes.
if you can get to Vegas in October, um, I got the backyard. We're slowly renovating it and getting artificial grass and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And my big ass gonna be in the bouncy house. So,
I
yeah, I
love
said, "Even if
that.
I gotta be in it by myself," Danielle's like, "I'm getting in too." My sister was like, "I'll come get in." So, that's 2 people. But, I'm trying to get some folks who aren't afraid to be kids. So, I and
Count me in
this
any
isn't
day.
even voiceover related. I feel that reaching 50 is a milestone, but
Mhm.
I don't look at it like, "Oh, you're getting older." I probably have more days where I feel how I felt in my 20s and
Yes.
30s. Now, don't get
Yep.
it twisted. It's some days 49 feel like 49,
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
But I have some days I'm like, I'm at least a good 32 today.
I feel
I'm
good.
all right.
Yeah.
So I
I'm
want
32 and I still feel the same years ago. I'm like, this number doesn't, I don't feel different.
girl, you 32. Y'all
Yeah,
hear
I'm
this?
32.
32.
I am.
Man, 30 my 30s was fun, man. My
Yes.
40s ain't been bad either, but 32? Hey, 32, I could sleep till 6 in the morning, get up at 8, go to a
Yup.
job, then go to a
Just
party
starting
at
out.
9 and stay there till 3 in the morning and then go to bed at 6 and get up at 8 and rinse and repeat. Now,
Yup.
I'm like, it's 7:30, Imma get ready, y'all, in a minute, and by 10 o'clock, I'm like, I ain't
You're gone. Gone
I ain't
sleeping.
coming. I know I told y'all I was coming,
Man.
but I ain't coming. If I haven't
Yeah,
made a
about
true
that.
yeah, if I haven't made a true commitment by 8 o'clock, I'm not
It's not happening. Yup.
doing
It's not happening.
it. I'm watching
Club bed.
Netflix or I'm "Man, I thought you
There
was
you
coming.
go.
Man, what time is it? Oh, I missed I ain't coming."
See y'all next time.
Yeah, see you next time. So I'm trying to restore and recharge. So on day 1 of 50, I'm like, "It's bounce house time," and
There we
I'm
go.
getting in. I'm getting in. So
Yes.
the
Well,
invitation has been sent.
well, thank you. We are RSVPing. We will be there to support you. I am a kid at heart always. So anytime you want to do kid stuff, count me in. I'm down.
See that?
Let's
That's
do it.
cool. All
Let's do
right.
it.
How can the fine folks find you out there? And if you haven't found her already, what's wrong with you? But in the event that you haven't, tell them how they can reach you.
You guys can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Queen Noveen. I also have a website, queennoveen.com, and I will be starting my own voiceover classes this month. They'll be dropping this month. Stay tuned very, 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 very soon.
Oh yeah.
Where I'm giving back and teaching people voiceover and how to get into it. And soon I'll be offering promo classes, live announce classes, and I'll have some guest speakers, which Trey, I would love you to be a part of.
Say less, sis.
But yeah, I'll be announcing that on Ready Q Announce on Instagram at Ready Q Announce. So yeah, Instagram and TikTok at Queen Noveen and at Ready Q Announce.
Nice. This might be cherry picking a little bit, but you
Mm.
think you could give me a nice outro right now? No pressure.
Oh yeah. Okay, wait. It's called Time Out with Tre Mosley, right?
Take
Should I get it
time
right?
out with Tre Mosley.
Take time out. Okay. You have just watched Take Time Out with Tre Mosley with Queen Noveen. Thank you for watching.
And this is why it's good to have
Featuring
VO
Queen Noveen.
friends. I'm cool. I'm cool. I'm good now. Thank you all for watching. I just got my outro. I don't know about you, but I got mine. And we will see y'all next time. Take it easy.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Take Time Out with Tre Mosley podcast, part of the Titan Media Network. You can find us on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, or wherever you get your podcasts. To see the video version of this, you can find us on YouTube on the Take Time Out with Tre Mosley YouTube page. Thanks for listening, or thanks for watching. Either way, we'll see you next time.